This is Digital Anarchist. I'm happy to be joined by Bill Swatling, who is Deputy General Manager with HCL Software. Welcome, Bill.
Thanks, Mitch.
Did I get your name right? Was that Swatling?
That's right.
Okay, good.
And Deputy General Manager is kind of a name unique to HCL. I call myself a product manager.
Product manager. Okay, great. Well, deputy makes you sound, like the lawman or something. Anyway, well, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you and tell us a little bit about HCL, maybe what part of HCL that you work in.
Sure. HCL Software is a relatively new company. We think of ourselves a $2 billion startup that was an expansion of HCL Technologies into the software business. I joined a little more than 2 years ago and came to HCL Software as we're just forming our cloud native strategy and direction. And my background is in enterprise software, many years at IBM, worked at some smaller companies too.
Great. So you've lived the enterprise journey then, that part of, I know who you sell to, serve very much.
Yeah. And that's the core of HCL Software business as well. We have enterprise customers around the world. The company is headquartered in India, but our operations are worldwide. And HCL Software has customers that are large and medium-sized businesses.
Well, HCL also is pretty broad in terms of, you have low code, no code, security, cloud management, all kinds of, how would you describe sort of the portfolio?
Yeah, the portfolio is very broad and has grown and continues to grow as HCL Software acquires other software products. I think the portfolio, the way I would describe it is several different pillars or segments that have some overlap. So we have customer experience products around digital marketing and commerce, crossing into kind of customer experience, and then digital solutions around collaboration, productivity, and then in towards application development. We have an application development portfolio for low code, no code tools all the way to hardcore developers. And then we have a security portfolio, so being able to kind of analyze code as well as manage security and endpoints across the enterprise. Mm-hmm. So a pretty broad portfolio covering literally tens of thousands of customers throughout the world.
And even lots of endpoint devices. I just had your person on from the endpoint management software. Very, very interesting conversation. So I know in July you all announced something called SoFy, which is sort of, I would describe it kind of your marketplace or your portal to go get HCL products and services or products that related to the cloud for enterprises and I guess more. Tell us a little bit about SoFy and how that functions.
Yeah, well, SoFy was really one of the anchoring technologies, part of our cloud native launch that we did back in July. And really, it's about HCL Software becoming a cloud native software company. Cloud native is different. It's fundamentally different in how you use and manage the software. In a normal enterprise software from a software vendor, you go and download the software from their the entitlement portal. You copy those to each machine that you want to install it, and you run setup.exe or whatever script to get it up and going. And you do that on every single machine that you need to run it. And what cloud native is about is totally changing that process, is speeding it up in this kind of continuous integration, continuous deployment model, where we can automate all of those things, so that I don't have to have a person doing each of those steps, but I can write scripts that can pull the software from the vendor directly into all the environments and start them up. And then when I need to update them, I can just tell it to update all the software, right? So it's fundamentally changing that. So in order to do that, we had to change and build a new system that worked in that world. And that's what SoFy is about. SoFy is short for Solution Factory, and it's a way for any technology user, you don't have to be a system administrator, to be able to get our software and to run it in Kubernetes. So SoFy is a software catalog, as you mentioned. If I'm a person who's entitled to HCL Software, I can log into the portal, do SoFy. I can see all the products in the portfolio. I can build the deployment template which we use a Kubernetes project called Helm. It's the deployment mechanism for deploying the software in Kubernetes. I build a Helm chart through point and click of the HCL products that I want to deploy, one or more, and then I can download that solution template into my own environment or my own cloud environment and run that with a single command: Helm install, Mitch's solution, and boom, whatever I defined in that SoFy portal gets installed, instantiated, and is up and running in minutes. That's really the value. Now, some people don't have a Kubernetes system ready to go, so we provide the SoFy Sandbox. It's a pre-built Kubernetes cluster ready to receive solutions. So if you don't have your own environment, you can see what this experience can be like by pointing and clicking, deploying to the sandbox. A few clicks later, that software is up and running. You can imagine, how long does it take to get some of these big enterprise software products deployed and installed and configured? I used to work for a company. I used to do proposals of doing that, and it was days and weeks, or maybe even a month or two for the bigger projects, building out all the environments. And now we've reduced that to minutes. It's a huge productivity benefit, huge cost reduction for our customers.
And the whole time to value, right? And then my product experience, I remember the days of how do we shorten the time to value, right? We want customers to be able to press a button or do whatever steps. We'd like minutes, not hours, days, and weeks, right?
Absolutely. That's so compelling. And you're excited about the new software that your company purchased, but it takes you weeks to even get a copy of it and install it on your machine. Now, with just a user ID and password and the easy onboarding process, boom, you can have it up and running before lunchtime.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Well, we mentioned the breadth of products that HCL Software offers. It sounds like, this doesn't have to run in any one cloud, whether it's your private data center or a third-party cloud environment, as well as, I'm sure, SaaS services that are part of this. I assume this is sort of, now we can set this up in your AWS environment or Azure or whatever is applicable.
Absolutely. People ask, this is where's your service? What cloud are you? Is this an HCL cloud? No, HCL doesn't really have our own cloud. We use the public clouds that are available, and HCL software can also run in customers' private cloud environments. Mm-hmm. So we definitely support any Kubernetes environment. So I can use Azure, I can use AWS, I can use Google Cloud. And we make it easy and really essentially the same. Of course, different configuration of the infrastructure is different from one cloud provider to another, but the process of installing and configuring the HCL software in each of those environments is exactly the same. So if a company switches, last year we were on AWS, but now we're moving to Azure, fine. Just redeploy the exact same thing that you did before. You do it again, and boom, in just one day, you can have all your stuff running in your new cloud environment.
Excellent. So what about post-deployment? Is this a place to go get updates, or that's built into the product so you don't need to go back to SoFy? Or I suppose as products evolve and change and combine or split apart or whatever, that might be another instance where you go back to SoFy.
Sure, it is where you go back to SoFy. So, this is another thing where Kubernetes kind of has defined how a system for keeping your systems updated, right? And so, we leverage that. And again, Helm, so I can do, just like I did Helm install Mitch's solution to install it initially, I can come back into SoFy when a new version is available. I can update my deployment template. In fact, even once you come in, you'll see, we'll prompt and say a new version of this is available. Do you want to update your solution? Click that you want to update your solution and now redeploy with a Helm update. And now your installation is seamlessly upgraded. We can even do that in production environments with no downtime. Kubernetes handles that, so it'll redirect traffic to the new updated containers as they become available.
Excellent. Anything else about SoFy that we're not covering that might be some of the capabilities or benefits?
Well, one of the things that is intimidating about enterprise software is the initial configuration, getting started. If I do get it installed successfully, what do? I've got an empty site with nothing in it, right? Mm-hmm. An empty configuration. So also in SoFy, we have some sample configurations we call demo packs, which kind of fill in the product with a set of configuration data that matches several different use cases. So I can have a demo pack of our marketing suite for Unica around a credit card activation scenario. It has a whole bunch of user data, a whole bunch of campaign data. It defines the process and the flow. And so my first experience as a new user with an enterprise software product now can be this point and click, run this Unica credit card demo pack with the Unica product in the SoFy sandbox. And along with that, we've got videos and step-by-step guides to how to go through the product. So not only can I deploy my product in a few minutes, in maybe the next hour or so, I can run through one or two scenarios of actually using the product to do something that I need to do in my job, the reason my company bought the software. So we're helping, not only get the software installed and running, but help the users get up to speed faster.
It seems also, and no disrespect to salespeople, software people often don't like to talk to sales. They don't like marketing. They don't like all those things. They're just kind of, just the facts, man, just the facts. If you remember that old Dragnet phrase. I would imagine this gives people direct access to some of those products to really get their hands on it quickly and then say, hey, I'm interested in this. We'd like to buy it as a follow-on to that instead of having to go through a whole upfront process. Is that true?
That's exactly true. And as one of those enterprise salespersons earlier in my career, I was afraid to have my customers use my product without me or one of my technical people with them for that first experience, because they were more likely to get lost and fail because they didn't know where to go. They didn't know what to do. The product would look hard to use. And so with SoFy and these pre-built demo packs, the products look really easy. I can watch a video. I can do step by step. I can run it in another window. And when it says click here, I click there. When it says select this option, I select this option. And what it does is it enables a self-service experience with very powerful enterprise software products across our portfolio. Every single product in SoFy has a demo that we can have not only an operations person or developer do, just a regular line of business end user.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's the age we're in, right? Self-provisioning software, anybody can get to it. We really have to design our products that way, as well as design the delivery of them.
They do. There's an expectation of user experience that's defined by Google and Facebook and Gmail, right? If people think I should be able to just go to the site and start using it, and as an enterprise software company, we don't always think that way. But with SoFy, it shows that HCL Software really is thinking that way. And we think that consumer-driven adoption plan where people just try it out, they like it, and then they tell their friends about it, that could actually work for enterprise software if you make it easy enough to get started. And that's what we've done with SoFy.
We do live in the age of the App Store, don't we?
That's right.
Where do you think we're kind of, if you put on your crystal ball or open the box, take the crystal ball out and look we're gazingly where we might go with these kinds of online stores? Where do you think we're headed? What's next with that experience?
Well, I think, the immediate, next step when somebody looks at SoFy and says, oh, wow, this is cool. This is easy. I can get this up and going. But we do need a Kubernetes system, right? We need a Kubernetes cluster. We need the IT team to get that up and running. And maybe I don't want to wait for that. My business project is next month or 3 months from now. I need to go live. How can I get this, in that time frame? It seems like I could, because here it is already running in front of me in the SoFy sandbox. For that, we have a HCL Now, which is a service that runs that Kubernetes infrastructure for you with that SoFy solution, just in the same way the sandbox does, but now in a production environment with the right support and monitoring and security, so that you can actually run your mission critical applications and have HCL be the service provider that does that. With HCL Now, we still have SoFy under the covers. You get all that benefit, including running it in whatever cloud environment. Right? If you run the rest of your stuff in AWS, we'll run our HCL software products for you in HCL Now in that environment. So I think the crystal ball, the short term, people get excited about Kubernetes. I mean, the benefits of auto scaling, of high availability, of automation are so exciting. It is the hot thing in infrastructure right now. but it's a new technology to learn, right? I mean, you've seen, over your career, a new wave of technology. It's more things that we can learn. We never are done learning in this business. It's one of the best
No doubt.
that we love working in technology, right? There's always something more to learn, but that means there's something more to learn, and I may not have the time to do that. So having somebody do that for me, get my Kubernetes up and going for me, that's great. Maybe for the next year, that's going to do, but eventually my team's going to get up to speed. We're going to have Kubernetes. That's in our future. We can take that HCL Now environment and just move it over, and now we can run it in the customer's environment. Maybe getting started, I want to do public cloud, but later on I want to run OpenShift or Pivotal or my own enterprise container platform in my environment. Yeah, we can run exactly the same way. And the monitoring tools that we've added in with SoFy monitoring, the tools for license management, all the kind of accelerators we have with a Kubernetes dashboard, all that transfer over, you run it exactly the same way in the other environment. So I think that's the short-term future. If I look further beyond and what Kubernetes offers, one of the top trends is about this continuous integration, continuous deployment, where I can have development pipelines where I go from developer to production in one continuous quick process. And the faster I can do that cycle, the sooner time to value and the lower cost I have. I really think the future is bringing enterprise software into that environment. So the same way that I can get containers from my development team and quickly get updates and put them into production, I could do the same thing with enterprise software. So SoFy is built from the ground up to be automatable, right? I can connect to it through a script process and pull it. So from HCL Software's perspective, I have a developer writing new code and there's a new update. We have automation to push that code and that update into SoFy. And then from the customer side, this automation comes and pulls that container and then pushes it to all the different environments. So the time between when your vendor's developers write code to the time that you put it into production, how long do you think that would be on average now in the enterprise, right? Months at least, some customers years. This can now be weekly. You have the latest version of your vendor software, the newest capabilities. That's incredibly powerful.
Yeah, it's very much in line with, once in a while I get to speak about kind of the future of DevOps. And one aspect of that is much more dynamically configured tool pipelines. So it's not something that we sort of configure once and then leave it alone for a while, right? It's going to be continuously changing as we, pull from maybe a containerized or virtualized app environment. Maybe we set up pre-configurations in your HCL Now that eventually get pulled into not just a production environment, maybe a tool chain environment for that. It's all about speed. So if I can, just like everything else, we're making it smaller, we're making it all faster, right? Absolutely. So our challenge as folks that have delivered some of those big applications is really thinking about how you can do that in small chunks and very quickly.
Yeah, and that's a big challenge for a lot of enterprises. And that's really what HCL Software went through ourselves. So we didn't start out like, a year ago and could build things from the cloud native model and architecture from the ground up. We started with products that have been in the market for a very long time and have, dominant market share and have been there for many years. So how do we take what we have now, these monolithic applications built on other, previous generations of enterprise architecture? How do we adapt them? And so we've done that. In some cases, we've taken the product and just put it in a single container as a monolith to get started, and then slowly kind of break it apart into microservices, generally following that cloud native architecture. Most of our products have, when they introduce new features now, they deliver it as in that cloud native model as a container. And so running Kubernetes isn't required for HCL software products, but if you want to take advantage of the latest things, then yeah, that's definitely in your future. Our customers are really excited about it. They see the potential of Kubernetes as their future, and they're really happy to see that HCL is really leading the way as an enterprise software vendor in Kubernetes.
Well, congratulations on the announcement. I know it's been a few months ago now, but as that's gotten into market, I'm sure you've seen some great experiences, learned some good things, and helping shape where you're going next.
We do. We already have our customers on the HCL Now environment. We have customers running in production in Kubernetes in HCL Now, and a good pipeline of our customers that say, wow, this is great. I thought it was going to take me a long time to get to Kubernetes, and here you've got a way to get me to Kubernetes and the latest version faster and cheaper than even I can do it myself.
Where can folks go to check out SoFy?
So HCLSoFy.com is the SoFy website. If you're an HCL Software customer or partner, you can go through that request access process to get online. If you're not, go ahead and request access, and we'll get someone to be able to get you on SoFy so you can try it out. And as an introduction to HCL Software, what better way to do it than start in Kubernetes in your own SoFy sandbox with the software up and running in just a few minutes.
And for everybody's benefit, SoFy is SoFy, so HCLSoFy.com.
That's right.
Great. Bill, great talking to you today. And again, congrats on the release of SoFy, and look forward to hearing more about where we go with this sort of app center, app store concept. So appreciate your thoughts on that too.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's been fun talking with you, Mitch.
Take care.
Bye.